Hi, I'm making this video in case you need a little help getting started with Exercise 1.1 in the Allen book. This follows Tutorial 1.1, and it's necessary to complete Exercise 3 of the course. Now, there's much less text given over to Exercise 1.1 than Tutorial. This is the biggest difference, I think. It's not necessarily kind of expanding or presenting anything new from the tutorial, but it's asking you to essentially go through the same steps as the tutorial, but without the step-by-step instruction, the helpful images that might point you to things. So kind of more independent work. But if you go through and read what you need to do for the exercise, it's essentially asking you to generate new design forms. To help you with this, I uploaded to Blackboard an example of completed Tutorial 1.1 design forms. So here, the geodatabase name, land records, feature data set name, property data, and then the feature classes that are within that feature data set, parcels and lot boundaries. If we go down to different sheets in that workbook, like tables, you can see the different table views, all the fields that hold values relating to a single feature class. So for lot boundaries, that's relatively simple, just a line code. For parcels, it has things like a lot number, a house number, street name, street type, zip code, and different land use information. Domains, so we have domains and domains too. Domains would be the kind of primary use code for the land cover. Here, vac, res, com for vacant residential commercial. If you click over to the domains too, you can see that there are different varieties of each one of those primary codes. So for vacant, you have vacant private, vacant government land. For residential, there are different secondary land use codes for single family, duplex, triplex, and so on. And we saw this in the data for Worcester. This exercise might be a little more difficult because you're not seeing anything on the map and the GIS, but I'm hoping we have that helpful frame of reference in Worcester. And these data aren't for Worcester, but we've seen it before. In this case, there is a subtype for whether property is platted, unplatted, or has a pending plat. There's also a relationship worksheet here from parcels and ownership. So if we go to the exercise text, it asks you to think of a related but different feature data set, this one relating to zoning districts. So it says that zoning districts can split parcels, but generally they contain parcels. They're bigger than any one parcel. And they're going to cover the entire area for Oleander, this town or city. It mentions that you'll want to have a solid shaded polygon for each different district feature, but also based on the need to style the edges differently, if those edges are marking boundaries in kind of primary or secondary use type, really. It advises you to create an edge line feature class separately, which is kind of similar that we saw for the parcels before. So returning to this workbook, you basically can edit out the values that are here and add in ones that might be appropriate, not for parcels, but for zoning districts. And as just one example, if we go to the tables sheet, for parcels, a given parcel will have an address, a street name, a house number. For zoning districts, they're much bigger, and so that kind of information wouldn't make sense. So you can kind of just highlight those and delete them. Just because it's an exercise, that following doesn't mean that it's actually more lines. It could be fewer. Look at the domains. See if any of these domains or another domain might apply to zoning districts as it's presented in the book. Think if there are any subtypes or relationships that might be relevant. and indicate them as such within this workbook. Save it as a different one, call it the Geodatabase Design Form Exercise 1-1, and this is one of the things you'll submit.